could you please introduce yourself and Finn?
Yeah. Hello, my name is Geir Petter Gjefsen. I'm the fraud manager in FINN in Norway, and I've been working for FINN for 8 years now. FINN is the largest online marketplace with ads in general merchandise, job, real estate, motor, travel, and personal finance. So we handle a lot of different ads.
We are in the midst of the corona crisis, and that's something that has, I think, taken most people by surprise. That this happened. I don't think a lot of people really predicted this. However, it seems that you are doing quite a lot better than other marketplaces. So when did you start preparing for the corona crisis? When did you know that now we have to do something?
Well, starting preparing for the corona crisis, that's kind of a difficult answer to give. It was impossible to predict what kind of impact the corona crisis would have on FINN and Norway and the whole world. However, by the middle or end of February, the Norwegian government and health authorities made it clear that this might become a big crisis for Norway and the rest of the world. And by that time, FINN had started looking into taking active measures to ensure our business and employees. Among other things, there were discussions of home offices for all employees. Travel quarantine was enforced on anyone who had traveled to corona-infected countries abroad. And we started looking into banning certain corona-related ads.
So you did this already in February?
Well, it started in February, yeah.
So you had a meeting and you sat down and you said, what happens in this situation? What happens in this situation? What happens in this situation? Which actions do we need to take?
Well, I was part of some of the discussions, but I know there were several discussions and several tracks going around in FINN. But already in the middle of February, at the end of February, we started discussing some of the things.
You guys were quick to react and you took this very seriously as well. I think that's something that has helped you. But when you were discussing this, what were kind of your main concerns in terms of the impact that would happen due to the corona crisis?
When it comes to fraud management and safety, which is the responsibility of my department at FINN, the first thing we noticed that was from around the middle of February was that FINN users started selling corona-related products, such as face masks and disinfection products and toilet paper and other products at a much higher price than in stores, where these products also were quickly being sold out. So we started discussing this problem in the end of February, but decided to review the situation in the beginning of March. And then the 10th of March, we decided to ban ads for these kinds of products. And I think this generated less problems than we would have had if we did not ban them. And the second thing we started looking into was how we could help people affected by corona in Norway. And we looked into new areas for FINN. We made two new categories of ads. One for people wanting to help others that were or are affected by corona, and one for people that are affected by corona and in need of help. And these categories were added to FINN Target, general merchandise marketplace, and named Need Corona Help and Offer Corona Help. We also saw that the health sector was struggling in recruiting enough workers for the hospitals and health institutions in regard to the corona crisis, and therefore made it free for hospitals to put out ads on FINN Job. And we also saw quite quickly that the corona crisis had a different impact on different verticals on FINN. For example, we experienced rapid and extreme growth in our general merchandise section, but the real estate and job verticals saw an increase due to the economic crisis that has come from shutting down society.
Do you have like any initial reaction from users in reaction to the two categories that you talked about? Were there positive reactions or?
Yeah, I think we only heard positive reactions to those. We have had some people trying to place ads for I just need help, but we did not allow those. We said that this is something we are doing in related to the corona crisis, so we are only offering corona related ads.
Okay, I see. And I'm assuming that that's how it is all the time. If you create something new, even if it's a positive thing, you are going to have people who will try and abuse it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's one thing we saw when we decided to ban something that normally is allowed, like face masks and disinfection products. We saw that some people that had bought a lot of those products just to sell them at a much higher price on FINN were angry at us. But most of the Norwegian people said that this is a good thing you're doing, because we don't want anyone taking benefits with kind of scaring people and taking a much higher price of the products.
You were talking about you saw a decrease in rentals, and of course, in hindsight, that makes sense. Was there any actions you took to kind of lighten the impact of, because I'm assuming that those are generally quite revenue-heavy generators for FINN. Is there any actions you've taken to kind of lighten the impact of those categories taking a hit?
The salespeople have been working very hard and been taking care of our customers. So they've been kind of following them up closely during this period.
You kind of touched on this already, but what kind of challenges have you faced in handling the corona crisis?
Well, during the corona crisis, we had been facing several challenges. First, we decided to ban specific corona-related products and had to manually remove over 1,500 ads. And all the 450 FINN employees were restricted to home office from the 12th of March and still are. And the need of corona help and offer corona help ads needed verification, which is not mandatory at FINN. And that was a big job. It was something different. But we thought that we wanted the people that were in need of help and the people that wanted to help, we wanted them to be verified, to know who the users were. And we saw a decrease in ads publishing in certain sections of the marketplace. And on the other hand, we saw an increase in others. It was not that big increase that it was a big problem, but anyhow, we saw an increase.
So the user verification, that's a little bit interesting. How did you go about that?
Well, in Norway, we have something called Bank ID. It's kind of a national online verification system. And we are using Bank ID in some categories in FINN currently. But then to place an ad in one of those categories, you had to be Bank ID verified. And also to send a message, you had to be Bank ID verified. So that in that way, we know who the user is.
And what's the thought behind the verification on these ones? Why are you putting that in place for these?
We wanted to know for sure who these users were, if there were any problems later. This was a new category for us, and we think that helping others is kind of a if you commit fraud while you are helping, or while someone think that you are helping, we think that that's not a good thing to do. So we wanted to know who the users were.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's basically a lot of vulnerable users as well, I can assume, in the need help category.
Yeah.
How did the traffic and user engagement look in March and April?
First, we saw a rapid fall in the traffic after the Norwegian government enforced the new corona rules on the 12th of March. However, after a week or two, we saw that the traffic numbers stabilized and started increasing. And in April and so far in May, we've experienced record high traffic numbers in FINN, which is fantastic. One of the reasons to this is that the general marketplace is kind of one of the places where we have most traffic, and that vertical has not been affected much by the corona crisis, it seems.
That's good news for the marketplace industry as a whole.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, part of that is obviously because more people are shopping online, but part of it, I think, also has to do with how you were handling it. So why do you think you were successful in deflecting the negative impact when other marketplaces has been struggling?
Well, I think FINN has also experienced a negative impact during the corona crisis. However, I think that by banning specific corona-related products early and looking for new areas of growth, and finding ways to contribute with services that has helped the Norwegian society in crisis has been vital in keeping the marketplace going.
What is the #1 step you'd recommend taking in a similar situation in the future, or recommendations that you would give to the marketplaces who are struggling right now?
That is a very difficult question to answer. I think no one predicted the problems the corona crisis has left behind so far. So I guess my best advice would be to be able to change quickly. For example, making new rules or finding new areas to grow. I think it's easier to succeed if you have a good cooperation within your company. When it comes to the case of banning specific ads, in FINN, we had to quickly get together people from PR, the general merchandise department, the development department, consumer safety, and sales department, because they are responsible for our professional users. And all together, we had to find a solution to this problem. And in addition, all this happened from home offices around the country. So being able to kind of turn around and make quick changes is essential when it comes to this.
Other than this, any major learnings from this situation you'd like to share? Anything that you can throw out there so people can learn from what you have done in this situation?
Well, to pick up major learnings from this situation, since the corona crisis is far from over, it's hard to answer this question now. But cooperation within the company and being able to make swift changes and see new opportunities, also opportunities where the company can help the society in a crisis, is vital, I think. And I think we are kind of benefiting from this because people like FINN better when we do things like this.
Yeah, we have seen all the companies who have been really strong in focusing on the kind of local communities and engagement building, and rather than thinking profit, thinking how can we help, they have come out better through this crisis than those that haven't.
Yeah.
Is that something you can agree to?
Yeah, well, I hope so. I hope I can say in 1 year that that was the right thing to do.